dropped his pen, and the judge issued an arrest warrant right there and then. It was a desperate ploy to keep Jim close, a perverse strategy to stay relevant after Dipset collapsed, or something even more premeditated connected to Camron's defection and the VH1 backdoor agreements. And here's the strangest part. Insiders say the pregnant hoax was not only emotional, it was also commercialized, with brand partnerships, interviews, and a complete storyline. This isn't just messy, it's criminal. And Chrissy just gone from reality star to reality check. You think this is bad? Wait until you hear who leaked the recording. You could feel it in the air. The court wasn't just full, it was boiling. The air conditioning couldn't combat the tension was coming. Everyone could feel it, but no one, not even Chrissy herself, was ready for what was about to happen. She strolled in like she constantly does, chin-high outfit, loud eyes behind designer shades, as if she had nothing to hide. But she didn't realize that someone had brought receipts. And this time they weren't from Fashion Nova, but from a burner phone and a microphone. The courtroom clerk murmured something to the judge, who nodded once. Then went to Chrissy's lawyer. Your client may want to hear this before she continues, he said. Then he signaled the bailiff that a flash drive was plugged into. The courtroom sound system, a file titled Lampkin Unedited MP3, began to play the voice. Chrissy's calm, calculated, icy. No, I'm not pregnant. But if I claim I am, he won't leave. He'll remain. He always stays when he believes we're starting a family. The courtroom erupted in screams, hands over mouths. Even the stenographer froze. Jim Jones remained still, staring at the bench in front of him as if it were about to consume him. Full. And then the judge moved forward. Manon, is that your voice on this tape? Chrissy didn't answer. Her lawyer did. We'd like to request a private review, but it's too late. The judge had already signed an arrest order in open court with no commercial break, just cuffs. But wait, how did we ever get here to grasp this moment? We have to go back to 8 months ago. Whispers first started floating online that Chrissy was pregnant again. The blogosphere had a field day. Is Jim finally having a baby? Chrissy, shining in Harlem, VH1 announced a big announcement in the forthcoming season of Love and Hip Hop Secrets Unlocked, and cameras followed her. I'm not claiming I'm pregnant, but I'm not saying I'm not classic. Every time she stroked her stomach on Instagram stories, she left breadcrumbs. Chrissy bait. But behind the scenes, there was no scan, obgyn, appointment, or baby. What there was, however, was a script. A well-prepared storyline built to evoke compassion secured additional screen time and kept Jim locked in place while Dipset disintegrated around them. Camron had just been exposed the truth about his relationship with Chrissy, had released calls, emails, even a beach shot, and Jim was reeling. The internet was laughing, and Chrissy needed to switch the narrative. Quickly, sources claimed the fake pregnancy was her move, a power play. She knew how to keep Jim near, according to an anonymous insider from VH1's production crew. He may have been upset, but if there was a baby, he wouldn't walk away. What she banked on, and it worked at first, Jim started coming around again. He was spotted house searching with her, and he even uploaded a fuzzy photo. Blessings on blessings. Fans felt it indicated a baby was on the way. Chrissy's brand deals increased, with one vitamin company apparently paying her 5 figures to post a phony pregnancy update, and another beauty brand making her Radiance ambassador. Even baby brands started sneaking into her DMs. But the real issue occurred when she got sloppy with a footage from a behind-the-scenes shoot for a Love Hip Hop episode surfaced, showing Chrissy sipping champagne. At first, people disregarded it as apple cider, but then came the audio with that voice. The memo wasn't just recorded casually, it was calculated blackmail. According to reports, Camron had the recording the entire time, and when the courtroom turned against him. During Jim's son's emotional testimony, he decided to throw Chrissy under the bus, figuring if he's going down, he's bringing everyone with him, according to one insider. Cam handed up a video from a late-night phone call in which Chrissy was whining about how to recapture the narrative. She had no idea he was recording. The voice memo was short, little, about 2 minutes, yet it was enough to blow her entire world to shreds. And now the public is scrambling to determine out how deep this lie actually goes. Was Jim truly fooled? Was he in on it? Or was he just another pawn in Chrissy's frantic drive for power? legacy and importance in a plot that ceased being cute years ago following the arrest. Courtroom security tried to escort Chrissy quietly, but it was. The reporters were everywhere. Her wig nearly blew off as cameras flashed, and one journalist yelled, "Are you really pregnant, Chrissy?" Another was it all just for VH1, and the wildest part, her own publicist stood on the steps outside and whispered, "There never was a baby boom." By the end of the day, Jarn false pregnancy queen was trending the memes merciless Chrissy photoshopped into baby. Showers with empty cribs, a false baby register listing attention and screen time as top gifts, and Jim Jones holding an imaginary baby staring puzzled. But what stung the most was that Jim never showed up to the jail, neither for bail, backup, or even for her mugshot, and his silence was louder than Jim apparently left the courtroom while Chrissy languished in a freezing holding cell wearing full makeup and betrayed him. New York again, this time for good, and rumor on the street is he's cutting everyone off. But what happens next? What other deals did Chrissy make under this fake story? What lawsuits are waiting in the wings? And who else knew this was a lie the whole time? Because trust me, this goes deeper. Her government name is Christine Lannon. There is no reality star, glitter, love, or hip-hop confessional illumination. Just a cold metal seat with fluorescent lights and the sound of a steel door slammed behind her. And while she sat in that holding cell phone, confiscated lashes still intact, the world outside was falling. According to individuals close to the prosecution, the tape wasn't the only piece of evidence that appeared that day. A second leak occurred just hours after Chrissy's arrest. Screenshots from a secret group conversation titled Pregnancy Playbook were taken. VH1 associate producer identified Morgan B. and someone saved as CC. Cam thought to be Cameron's assistant. The messages, "Pure controversy gold, Morgan B. will shoot." The revelation in Miami, she simply has to say she missed her period and appear sad. Chrissy got it. "I'll wear flowing skirts and massage my belly while talking heads." Let that sink in. They weren't simply faking a pregnancy. They were creating it like a mini-series with false reactions. Tears phony, positive test props. One message even described a plan to incorporate Jim's mother in the tale. "Chrissy, I'll get Mama Jones to start posting." The producers allegedly paid Chrissy a bonus for sticking to the deception, according to a leaked Venmo transaction. 2 days after her initial on-air pregnancy tease, Chrissy received a payment labeled Plot Incentive from a VH1 connected account. And public trust in her wasn't just broken, it was cremated. And Jim still no remark and no appearance, but guess who did speak up? Mom Jones. She went live on Instagram with hair in a scarf smoking a Virginia Slim and stated, "I always knew that gal was full of games. I ain't seen no baby bump, no clinic visits, nothing. Jim better wake up and leave that turmoil behind. She wasn't alone." Fans filled her comments with encouragement. "We've been waiting for you to talk, Mama Jones, you always." Kept it genuine. Chrissy Dunn portrayed herself out of the entire family. But wait for this next. Following the group chat leak, a former Love and Hip Hop editor secretly shared a 3-minute unreleased clip from a scene that never aired. The tape, Chrissy backstage. After recording a confession moment, she takes off her mic, sighs dramatically, and mutters, "Damn, I hope nobody asks proof. I can't pretend this forever." Boom, her own confession caught raw off camera, but very, very real. The film spread. TMZ shared it within an hour, Shade Room captioned it, and Cardi B added, "Lead, this tea is boiling." The primary story was no longer did Chrissy lie, but who helped her lie and why. And that gets us back to Camron. Turns out he, according to anonymous information provided to the court, Cam was not just an innocent bystander in this disaster. He allegedly funded part of the false prenatal rollout. Receipts proved that a PR firm was recruited on Chrissy's behalf and paid directly by Purple Haze LLC, Cam's known company. Their role: construct story online, flood blogs with soft announcements, plant posts hinting at IVF. Yes, they even went so far as to manufacture a fertility difficulty to humanize. During the campaign, one blog post stated, "Sources say Chrissy has been quiet, weaponized motherhood," which is horrible. And as if that wasn't enough, the FTC came up because Chrissy sold prenatal vitamins and baby-safe skincare while pretending to be pregnant. And now brands are facing false advertising lawsuits, so they're turning around and attacking her. One firm, Glow Mama Naturals, We worked with Miss Lampin in good faith, and we are astonished and disturbed to hear that the pregnancy was faked. Chrissy is now dealing with more than just public humiliation and arrest. She is now facing civil claims, brand blacklisting, and possible fraud charges for misrepresenting her physical condition for financial benefit. The judge has already set an emergency evidence hearing, where producers, public relations representatives, and Chrissy herself are scheduled to be cross-examined under oath. According to our sources, he's cleaning house. His staff reportedly arrived up at the apartment he and Chrissy had shared and removed everything. Single object with her name on it, photos, clothes, even her dog's food bowl, the message, "You're done." But here's the twist that no one saw. Coming shortly before Part 2 concludes, we acquired unique intel that another tape exists, one even worse than the false pregnancy voice. Take note of this video, and it doesn't just show Chrissy talking. It shows her negotiating the lie in a hotel room with Morgan B., who has scripts with fake pregnancy tests on the table. When the footage reaches the trial, the game is finished. The judge may elevate the accusations from misdemeanor deception to felony fraud, and BH1 may be compelled to shut operations. Multiple producers might face federal inspection for entire seasons, and Chrissy could go from arrested in court to convicted behind bars. But what's scarier? Insiders believe she didn't act alone. There's a second woman, another Love and Hip Hop cast member, who allegedly tutored her through the entire hoax. She is about to be subpoenaed, and the court was slated to reopen at 10 a.m. I'm sharp, but around 8:30, a crowd had already assembled outside the courthouse. Bloggers with tripods, YouTubers broadcasting live, aunties carrying styrofoam coffee cups whispering, "OJ Chrissy fears Roya G." And they were right, because Part 3 of this catastrophe wasn't only a controversy. Chrissy was brought back into court in handcuffs, wearing a neutral gray jumpsuit with her initials embroidered in. She looked tired, makeup faded, and attitude gone. This wasn't the woman who formerly strutted across Love and Hip Hop stages flipping hair and calling the shots. Woman going to face a court with 0 patience remaining. But here's where it gets crazy. Just as the hearings were about to begin, the prosecution sought to introduce fresh evidence. The court nodded, and that's when the hotel footage fell, released to the prosecution just hours before from an encrypted server. Footage shows Chrissy and Morgan B., the VH1 associate producer, inside a suite at the W Hotel in Times Square, with scripts on the table and a pile of notes. Pregnancy Test plainly presents a folder labeled Pregnancy Arc Season 3, and Chrissy says in her own voice, "So after we get over the second in the episode, I'll fake the symptoms until the vitamins deal arrives, and then I'll state I'm at high risk to bypass the ultrasound plotline." Morgan responds, "We'll cover you if you say miscarriage by episode 6 and the fans will back off." The courtroom. The judge was dead silent, staring at the screen like she was witnessing a crime scene unfold in real time. Jim Jones was not present, but Mama Jones was. Let's just say she didn't whisper this time. She got up and exclaimed, "That's evil. That's straight up." Well, the judge hammered the gavel order in court, but Chrissy just sat there motionless, no emotion, no cries, no defense. For what could she say the video showed? Everything: the preparation, the props, the strategy, the manipulation. The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Lampkin, are you ready to explain this film to the court?" Before Chrissy's lawyer could continue, the courthouse doors flung open and in came a familiar face, Jan Dandy Smith. Jan Dandy has been feuding with Chrissy for years. He nearly fought Chrissy on live and reportedly shouted, "You believe you're a wife because you've been engaged for 15 years?" Now she was heading into court with a subpoena in hand, flanked by legal counsel. Gasps swept. The journalists lost it in the gallery, with one blogger literally whispering, "This is giving finale energy." Yandi approached. The witness stand. She took the oath, sat down, and then she dropped the bomb. "Yes, I knew Chrissy was lying, and Morgan helped design the phony. Pregnancy? Yes, Camron knew too. And yes, VH1 paid her a bonus to keep the storyline continuing." The court lost its mind. Even the judge fell back in his chair like, "I cautioned producers that this would backfire, that abusing mothers for a storyline was a horrible idea. But they didn't care. They said if the ratings go up, we win. And you want to know the worst part? They told Chrissy to fake a miscarriage if the deception was discovered, Mick. When Chrissy eventually broke, tears flowed down her cheeks and her voice cracked. I didn't want to go through with it, but I had nothing left. My reputation was Jim, wasn't coming home, and I had no storyline, brand partnerships, or offers. I figured if I gave them something dramatic enough, I'd matter again. After the damage was done, the judge ordered a complete investigation into VH1's production practices, paving the way for potential network-wide litigation, fallout. Several producers were placed on emergency leave, and Morgan B. was escorted out of court by federal investigators from VH1, gave a wobbly statement blaming individual decision-making and promising to evaluate internal ethics, regulations. But the public didn't buy it. Twitter outraged. VH1 encouraged a miscarriage plot, cancel them, and Chrissy invented an entire biography to keep a man she already lost. Yandandi might have just saved the whole culture. Petitions to shut down Love and Hip Hop acquired over 100,000 signatures overnight. Brands dropped ads, sponsors went ghost, and Chrissy, the court, upped the charges. She now faces felony fraud, conspiracy to inflict emotional abuse. If convicted of willful falsehood for financial advantage, she may face up to 7 years in prison, as Baves took her out of court. Time for transfer, not temporary holding her. Last words were barely audible. Tell Jim I didn't mean for it to go this far. But Jim hasn't said. According to insiders, he is currently in Paris, talking with independent producers regarding a documentary series called The Last Truth, which is about the true story behind Dipset, Chrissy Cam'ron, and the collapse of a dynasty. For while Chrissy may have faked a pregnancy, she couldn't fake her downfall. And in the end, the lie, Chrissy stepped back into the courtroom, flanked by 2 bailiffs and a lawyer who appeared to be already rehearsing her plea deal. The audience saw what she had become. Not a victim, nor a queen, but a headline waiting to implode. Outside, demonstrators surrounded the courts. Steps, not political activists, fans, former viewers, mothers, survivors, genuine women with posters that read, "Pregnancy is not a PR trick. Motherhood is not for ratings. Keep her locked up." What had begun as a viral scandal was now a cultural discussion, and then came the conclusion. As Chrissy sat in court, plainly collapsing, the prosecution brought additional evidence: a wire transfer receipt from Camron's company account to an offshore consulting business purpose of transaction. Narrative creation fee value $60,000, date 2 weeks before Chrissy disclosed her pregnancy online. The room exploded again. Bloggers were shaking, and even courthouse security seemed shocked. Camron, of course, was not present. He was traveling, according to his crew. However, insiders believe he's been discreetly lawyering up since the first arrest. But that wasn't the final twist, because the court had one more question. Ms. Lampin has benefited financially from the purported pregnancy plan, and the answer is an emphatic yes. Receipts rolled in from PR firms Reality, show producers, Augment Business's podcast appearances, and a supposed book contract titled Forever Yours Maybe. The Chrissy Chronicles, which claimed to reveal the deal was canceled hours after her arrest, and the publishing business published a "We do not promote deceptive tales that erode public trust." And then came the final testimony, not from Yandandi, Cam, or even Jim, but from one of Chrissy's old best friends, a woman named Trina Bell, who was a background cast member on Love and Hip Hop and is now a hairstylist in Atlanta. Was subpoenaed after previous emails between her and Chrissy were discovered in the VH1 archive server. Emails that look like a blueprint to manipulate not only Jim but Chrissy. Stated, "If I hit him with the pregnancy and that old Cam issue, he'll snap. Marry me out of guilt." "Even if it's a fake," Trina replied, "he won't know until it's too late." Chrissy said, "By then, I'll have completed my season, earned my ring, and established my legacy." The emails were devastating, not just for Chrissy, but for the entire business that helped make her a celebrity, and that's when the judge lost it, slamming the gavel. He proclaimed in the official federal ethics examination against VH1's production section states, "This court believes what we're seeing is not just personal deception, but systemic exploitation." Cue pandemonium. Producers scrambled, VH1 reps walked out. And Morgan B., the assistant producer caught in the hotel footage, was arrested on the spot for conspiracy to conduct fraud and unlawful manipulation with public narratives. Chrissy did not say anything. She didn't cry or plead. She just sat there, the weight of every camera, lie, brand agreement, and DM crashing down around her. Then the verdict. Christopher Lampkin will be held without bail pending criminal allegations of intentional emotional fraud, financial misrepresentation for commercial gain, manipulation of broadcast content, obstruction of contractual ethics. Her maximum potential penalty up to 8 years in prison. And outside, Mama Jones stood on the courthouse steps and uttered what everyone was already thinking. I tried to tell him. I tried to tell all of you. She never loved Jim, she liked the lights. Meanwhile, Jim hasn't returned to the US. Sources say he's been off-grid meeting with independent filmmakers in South Africa, constructing what insiders believe will be the biggest tell-all documentary series reality TV has ever seen. Working title: The Engagement That Never Ended. It's supposed to cover everything. Dipset's implosion and Cam's betrayal. Chrissy manipulates VH1's inner corruption and the emotional toll of 20 years in love with a falsehood. In the Camrons, name is in the shadows of the event. Resurfaced again because guess what? Same encrypted server that leaked. Chrissy's hotel footages purportedly includes texts from Cam bragging about one false pregnancy plot to another, Erica Mena, a reality celebrity. That footage gets out, the entire thing. Become a multi-show, multi-star network. Disaster. VH1 may not survive it. The franchise may burn, but one thing is clearly, Chrissy was never just, she was acting and creating her own work. Downfall in real time, and now no script can save her. For the first time in her career, the cameras don't roll. They're preparing for the season finale. So after all that, what do? Was this just a desperate situation? Woman attempting to hang on to a disintegrating love narrative, or a strategic manipulator who converted pregnancy into riches? And Chrissy Lampkin didn't just lie to me. Jim, she lied to the world and every admirer who rooted for her, to every woman who I thought her narrative was one of strength, not strategy. And when that clip played, when the hotel video was released, fake baby tests were presented in court. There was no going back, but perhaps the main question isn't why she did it. It's who helped her accomplish it and why. All remained silent. VH1 Camron's producers and brands. They saw the falsehood and funded it. They packaged it and sold it. So what happens now, Chrissy? Does VH1 finally face genuine prison time? When you turn off the lights, does Jim ever say anything? His truth, or is this only the beginning of anything darker? Drop your ideas in the comments. Do you think Chrissy Jim deserves jail time, collateral damage, and should these networks will be held accountable for turning trauma into television hit like? If you are still shocked, click the subscribe button. If you want the second part of this legal problem, because we hear whispers that another cast member is going to get exposed, and this time it's not about baby, it's about blood. Stay tuned because the truth always leaks. I'm in.